Baby, can you slip away this afternoon? Coast is clear, wanna see you real soon. Things ain't working out where you planned.
So now that you know the basics of each of the dances, I want to show you a few intermediate movements for each of these dances. You're really going to want to take some dedicated classes to learn and progress in each individual dance. But this will kind of give you an idea of some of those things that you want to work on after you get the basics down. For the blues stuff, isolation movements are a nice little thing that is particular to it, and it's kind of a modern type of thing. We have the hip isolations when we're doing these, but you can also do things like body isolations. And this is not necessarily, I don't try to lead every little thing here. What I do is I do it in my own body, and there is a connection here. So if I move a little bit, the shoulder moves, if there's a connection through her arm, there will be a little bit of movement here as well. I can put in type of stuff where we do some popping and locking type of movements to the music, and because there's a connection between the arms, she'll feel that type of movement and be able to respond to it. Some people will do it, some people won't. It depends on, I mean, really, she's feeling a little bit of a lead there, and she can either choose to go with that or not, depending on what she's doing. So we'll also be sometimes in this position with leverage type of thing. And if I go like this, she'll feel a little movement on the top through her arms here. And if she feels that, she could do a little body roll with that as well. So you want to explore some of those things with the blues stuff. On the tango side of it, a more advanced type of movement is a Colgada. And this is something which you can do, it's a leverage move that we do usually from a forward ocho. And basically, when she comes forward, I can use that as leverage to turn around. And it's basically us going backwards so that we feel this. And it's kind of like if you were to just go backwards with your partner like this, only it's just for a second, and we use the momentum of this type of movement with the forward ochos, so that as she comes here, I make sure that my foot is around her foot, almost like when I was going to do the stop and the drag, and I move her body like this in a clockwise motion. As I do that, if I go with it, we can spin around on that one foot, and when we get to the other side, we just step out of it. One thing you'll notice is that she's spinning on that one foot, and I'm actually changing my feet. So I start off on the one foot, she comes on this foot, and then I switch to the other one at the end so that I can step out, because that's where her weight is, and I want her to step with me, and we continue our tango movements at that point. This is considered a more intermediate advanced move in tango. There is a lot of leverage moves in swing too, so if you come from a swing background, you can pick it up faster usually, but you'll need some good instructions to start learning something like this. Then with swing, we do our whip a lot as an over-rotated whip. And an over-rotated whip looks like this. You know, the whip that I showed you before was very linear down the slot. That's more like a West Coast swing whip. This is more like a smooth Lindy Hop whip, and it's kind of nice because of the momentum that it generates. If I go, that was an over-rotated whip where we don't end up where we started. With a standard whip, linear whip, we end up exactly where we started, straight down the slot, and it's pretty simple. But with an over-rotated whip, she's going to end up going around more than 360 degrees, and she's going to end up there, or she's going to end up over there, or maybe all the way over there. Depends on how far we go. So if I go here, I go all the way around, we actually did an entire half turn more with that. And if I want to keep it in the slot, then that's what I would want to do. But with Lindy Hop, it doesn't really matter, so you might come out that way. Now to do an over-rotated whip, again, this is a more intermediate advanced move, you have to just go with it a little bit more. When she comes in, I use that momentum of pulling me around, and I step around further. So I'm going to turn us more. And she's just going with that as well. And she's going to go with that flow so that when I do send her out, it's in another direction. So really, it's just me stepping around further in the turn and allowing her momentum to pull me around. You notice there's a little time there where she's pulling me. It's almost like a little matrix move where I'm just sort of flowing with it. I'll show you where it is. Right there, I let it go on the top first, and then my feet follow. So, again, you're going to need probably to take some classes from an instructor, but you can get started with this. If you can see what's going on there, how I'm turning around and going a little further, it's really not that difficult to pick up. One other thing is when you start getting good with the whips and the other basic swing moves, start combining them. Like a whip, you can add underarm turns coming out of it. So if I go here, I do an underarm turn coming out of a whip. Or here, I do the outside turn coming out of a whip, or a tuck turn coming out of a whip. You can start with an underarm turn and finish with a whip. Now, it's basically just taking all the things that we do and combining them in different ways to make a more advanced movement.
Dig it all well, all you gotta do